talking about next season, let's talk about the wide receivers for a quick second. Again, this is something I brought up to you off air. Clearly, in my opinion, Kenny Gollday is going to demand top tier money. He's going to want 20 plus million a year. Obviously, he's not injury prone, but he has had injury problems throughout his playing career. I'm not 100% sure about his collegiate career, high school career, if he was injury prone or had a lot, but I do know as the Lions, he's been injury prone. I don't know if we can pay that to someone who hasn't even shown that much durability in their first 4 years, let alone going forward. The older you get, the more hits you take. Obviously, it's going to be harder to recover from, so I don't think he's worth it. Someone I do think who is, again, expiring after this year is Marvin Jones. Do you think that it's more of a possibility that we bring Marvin Jones back at more of a cheaper veteran deal because he's been here for so long and he's still performing at a clearly high level, and let Danny Amendola and Kenny Gollday walk at free agent?
Danny, I think, is retiring after the season. I don't think Danny Amendola is playing another season. But obviously, I don't want to see Kenny go. Like, I want Kenny to stay. But if Bob Quinn's the GM, Bob Quinn comes from the Patriots, and the Patriots don't play guys. They just don't. Their draft picks that end up being stars, they don't pay them top dollar. You saw Trey Flowers. They could have brought him back, but they didn't want to pay him the money that we were paying him, so they let him walk. So I do think if Kenny Gollday hasn't gotten an extension yet, I think Kenny Gollday will be gone, and I think he will be on another team next season. And yes, I would like Detroit to go after Marvin Jones and keep Marvin Jones around, because Marvin Jones has been one of our best players since we signed him. He came in and started performing the first season we brought him in. So if we can get him on a cheaper deal to come in and be our veteran, be that deep threat, be that extra wide receiver that we need, like, yes, 100% we bring him back.
It's all up to the possibly new GM if we end up going with the new GM. But yes, again, I agree. I definitely think I would bring back Marvin Jones on a cheaper deal because, again, he's not going to draw $20+ million a year as Kenny Gollday possibly will. And like you said, he's a good veteran. We're obviously going to need to bring in new wide receivers and draft new wide receivers. So obviously we have a young Quentin Cephas. We have a young Marvin Hall who, he's done pretty well. I'm not sure how old he is.
And also we have Jamal Agnew that obviously this season hasn't been the best, trying to catch the ball and stuff. But you guys got to remember, he was a corner and a kick returner. He's not used to being out there running routes, trying to catch the ball.
Yeah, he's still transitioning into wide receiver.
And I was going to say, if we keep him around and we keep him next year, like this whole offseason, he's going to know that next year he's going to be a wide receiver. So this offseason, he can work on wide receiver drills, catching the ball, making sure he can improve on that and be that Danny Amendola, that just sure-handed, give it to him short, he can make people miss, get a first down. Like, he could be the Danny Amendola if Danny Amendola retires or we don't bring him back.
But like I said, I definitely think regarding the Marvin Jones, I think he's kind of the more smart play. He's going to be cheaper. And again, he brings veteran leadership to that wide receiver room, and he can help. Obviously, he knows the organization. And another thing, he's not one of those diva wide receivers. He wasn't demanding. Obviously, his play hasn't been outstanding. He hasn't been an all-star wide receiver. But again, we did bring him to replace Calvin Johnson. And like you mentioned, his first few years with him and Golden Tate paired together, they were really, really good as a wide receiver duo. So I definitely think he's worth bringing back.